Okay, today I have had several questions over the past week, month-ish, about time and how I can get stuff done. So I thought we'd just sit down and kind of go over that for a second. So the reason this has come up is people wondered about me producing my stock, and then I had somebody and I got a little snippy, wanting, and I think it was a scam, wanting to talk to me about increasing my Etsy sales. I tried to nicely explain to them that it's just me producing, and I can't do sales at this point any faster than I'm doing. So thanks, but no thanks. I don't need your help. Okay, so the next thing I thought I'd talk about is that a lot of times the speed things can be done has to do with the stitches per inch. So on this one, I'm going to show it. This one is smaller than this one. So I can do these way faster than I can do this. This is the Swiffer mop cover. The first one of these I did. The other thing is this thread is like embroidery thread and it splits. The first time I did one of these, it took me over 8 hours. And I'm like, I can't sell them and do them for that. So I increased my hook size, which increased the spaces between, but I was able to get it down to an hour. Part of by increasing the hook size is I didn't have the issue I was having with the smaller hook with the splitting. That's the other thing that totally affects. I'll show you some here. We got to get over here to get this one and this one. The other thing that affects your time is your hook size. This one is my big thing here. This is my favorite one. This is what I use on the purses. This one I call Stubby. It's a little bit bigger, so it helps my hand, and I can work faster with this one because, as you can see, the hook size. In comparison, this is the hook size that I use for really fine, which I don't do often because they take hours and hours, tablecloths, the embroidery thread that's like a flaw. It's not embroidery thread. It's the crochet thread that's just a little bigger than embroidery thread. And sometimes you can use the same thing to make a lace. So you can see the difference. That's why the stitch per inch is way different with this one compared to this one, and then it doesn't even compare to this one. This one I've used to make like rugs, things using fabric to crochet. Okay, so that's one thing. The other way to increase your time is the first time I do a pattern like the bear took me like 3 days, and it looked like zombie bear. It was absolutely awful. The crochet patterns to me are like recipes. You gotta practice it and then put your spin on it. So now I have the bears down to, and I'll go over that one. They don't take me 3 days, but I would say a good day, kind of depending on how big they are and how difficult they are. So the more you do a pattern, the faster you can get. So when I'm looking at things to sell, it has to be something that gives me joy and something I can replicate in enough time that I don't have to charge a fortune. Because basically I'm not charging for my time. I'm charging for supplies and just a little overage. Because if I charge time, things are just too expensive. And some crocheters definitely want to charge per hour. Some of them have talked about like $10 an hour. I can't make products for that. Oh, here's another example. The other thing is size. So this blanket I did back it was before 2013. So the stitch per inch is pretty good sized, but the blanket is huge. It's huge. And then the other thing is I did a weaving pattern, so it's different on each side. So this one has approximately 20 skeins in it. It's pretty heavy. It's fabulous for winter in the north, but it takes a lot of time. I make Afghans as gifts, but I really cannot sell a big Afghan. Because when you're talking 20 skeins at $4 a skein, you're talking $80 there. Who's going to spend much over that, if any over that? If people don't understand the time and the supplies that go into it, especially big items. I do baby blankets that I can make and sell by using just 1 to 2 skeins. The problem is the size of them. They're not very big, but I want to try to keep the price $30 or below, sometimes lower. I did mark one down at the recent craft fair. I had it originally at 40 because it was several skeins of yarn, a lot of time because it was very small stitch per inch, but there was a flaw. because the next thing I have to watch for is like paint. The yarn comes in lots and dye lots, and I had two, the colors were the same, but different dye lots, so it looked different. It looked different and created what I considered a flaw. So I marked that one down to like, I think it was $15-ish. And it doesn't get my supply money back, but it at least, it's not a loss sitting here collecting dust. So some things I've had to do that way to get at least a partial supply cost back when I consider it a flaw. And I know nobody would want to pay full price. Okay, so by doing things that I can produce more quickly, that works. I also have to do things that I like. Then the next thing that I do to save time is I do things in sections. So the bears, I'll do a bunch of legs, then I'll do a bunch of arms, then I put the legs and the bodies together, and then I do ears, and then I get all that set to the side, and I spend one day sewing. The bags, I do the bodies of the bags, and I, like right now I still have 5 sitting here. I'll spend a day doing, I would like to get more, 6 to 8 is great, because then I'll spend a half a day doing rivets and handles. Then I'll set that aside, unless I did do some setting at the craft fair. I set the rivets, and then I was able to sew the threads. Because then I spend another day where I just sew in the tail threads. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is the body base. These are the threads that need to be sewn in, but I rivet it first, and then I'll sew these in. And so like the day at the craft show, I wasn't super busy, so I set some rivets, and then I just sat there and worked on sewing ends in. So there's that. And so that's how I do the bags. The scarves, I like to do like 4 scarves, and then to go through and do the tassels on the ends. Because it's just different processes. I can move along a little bit quicker. I spend a bunch of time cutting, and then I'll spend the time putting them on. Also, people ask about hours. I work 8 hours or more a day in the studio. The other night I got excited on the scarf day when I started that pattern and got totally excited. I worked from 11 in the morning all night long, went to bed at 9 o'clock. If I get excited about something, this isn't a job, it's fun, it's creative, it's artistic. So then kind of yesterday my day was thrown off. So there's that. Then on the magnets, I do the same thing with the magnets. I have roughly 12 at a time going, where I move them up and down the board, working on them, move them up when I think that stage is done, then I move them all down, look at them again, move them up and down the board, and then take a photo. I've told you guys this maybe before, to check on quality control, to make sure what I'm thinking and seeing in my brain is what's translating to photographs. I haven't done that with crochet, but at some point I might have to. We'll see, because it kind of crochet, you just got to rip out as you go. I had a thought and it just flew. The hours. I don't know what it was. Maybe it'll come back to me. And then a lot of times when I get overly focused, a little OCD in the shop. So meal time is usually a 15-minute meal break with a pot pie, burrito, something fast. Because once I'm focused on something, we're like all in. There was something I was going to tell you all. I don't know. It was about the magnets. I don't know. Today I'm setting up another table to start, and then I found I can't use newspaper because these things get stuck, and then it creates a mess. Then it doesn't look good, and I have to sand it off. So I've got an old tablecloth I tried to use at craft fair that was way too busy that I'm going to use instead of using sheets of plastic to do my base coat, to start working on some Christmas ornaments. So that's the next thing, is I'm going to have to learn a new pattern, which is going to take multiple days, and then see if I like it, and then see if I can replicate it. I tried one. Let me get this so I can show you. This was one my grandmother made, so I tried to replicate it. I did some. I think I've got 10 or 20. They don't bring me joy. They make me crazy and cranky. They're in little packets. They don't get dirty. They're little skates with a paper clip on the bottom and then a little tie. They don't make me happy. I don't love them. So I'm not going to make more of these. So I'll try different things. If I love it, we'll make some more. If not, we're moving on. And then I'll do 1 or 2 items at a show that are just specialty. This was a suggestion from another crafter. As kind of a display piece, but you're not going to duplicate them because it takes too long. So I did the race car rugs. It looked decent and nice as a rug, but they are for the little cars. I did 2 of those. Those took days and days. My hand, that's the other, I was going to tell you. So with all the crocheting, I had built up extra muscles in the hand that holds the hook. I found that out when I went for my doctor's appointment. I've got extra muscle now in the back part of my hand. So that's the other reason I do switch from thing to thing. That's the other reason I can't time things easily, because my hands need a break. So I'll go from crocheting to sewing to painting at times when I'm having issues with my hand. Or just like one day of one and one day of the other, kind of just depending on how bad the hand is. Yesterday I did some crocheting, some sewing, or not sewing. Yes, I did. I worked on cattails. Because the cats, now I do at least 3 of those at a time and then sew on their tails. And then I went to them working on the magnets for a little bit. So that was my rotation yesterday. Oh, and I was talking in the middle of talking about time. So I work in the shop 8 to 10 hours, sometimes more a day. And that's 7 days a week. While I'm working, that's the other reason it's hard to video while I'm working. I'm listening to YouTube, anything from music to law shows to sermons, just a variety of things on the YouTubes while I'm working. I did find a neat one, Sherlock Holmes books that are being read on YouTube. That one was kind of fun too. So it's kind of, I haven't videoed a lot and I also don't know how to edit yet. I got to work on playing with that to do time lapse, because I would like to do a time lapse of a day in the studio, but until I can speed that up, that's not going to work. What else? If you have questions, let me know. What I'm thinking of is ornaments. I'm going to work on for winter and Christmas. And then I'm thinking of a few flowers. I was trying to find the flower scarf I made. It was before 2013, so it's been a lot of years that had roses on it. I'm thinking about some flowers for Christmas and then do more flowers in the spring. And then maybe but I don't know how long to make it, and it's not something you can cut. I was thinking about doing a couple like borders or things that people could use when they sew. The problem is the crochet is not good to cut, and I'm not sure how that would work for a sewer. So may have to talk to my sister who sews a lot and see, because there's some really neat like borders like tulips, ice cream cones that look real cute on kids' clothes, pillowcases, collars, various things. So that would be kind of neat to maybe do that. So let's see if there was anything else. I've got the next event. There's going to be 2 events at the atrium. That was not super speedy, but I made in 2 days half of the amount I had made at the big one at the mall. So it wasn't bad, but it wasn't fabulous, but they're just getting started. So it's worth it as a community effort to get the atrium to where it's got more public use and people are involved. So it's going to be, I'm going to do that one more as a donation of my time and community support than actually sales, because it wasn't huge. I did have a very good month. I need like 6 more of those to make up for the supply costs so far, but that's okay. The first year, I'm figuring this is all about establishing, learning the process, because I'm not good at sales. I never have been. I like to make things that people want to buy, not that I have to talk them into buying. And I want things to be useful, to be durable, and to last. So that's kind of my thought process on that. Oh, there was one thing another thing. I still don't remember what the other one, but I saw one of my crochet people that's on my Facebook, and I had seen this before. You can get crochet cheaper on Temu, but it's either crochet cannot be mechanically produced that I know of, whereas knitting can be on these various like industrial looms, and so knitting can be mass produced. So there are some crochet items on Temu that are cheaper, but they're coming from out of the country, probably made by little kids. So it is out there. It's kind of like knockoff Chanel purses or whatever the purse of the time period is. There's always knockoffs out there. So it's there. It's up to you. Mine is all handmade. I did hear of another YouTuber that couldn't keep up, took the pattern and sent it to somebody to have it mass produced, and then there was a copyright issue. I don't plan on doing that either. I don't need to deal with copyright issues. I can't make anything that's copywritten, so like Disney, any of those. So I just can't do those. It's not worth taking the risk. Plus, I want to create stuff, take the patterns I see online. I do find patterns on Pinterest and online, or look at something online and see if I can create my own pattern. I was trying on turtles. Haven't totally mastered the turtle yet. I have some that aren't bad, but so I was working on that one. I tried to do an octopus. I worked on it for like 6 or 8 hours. I was finally set that aside. I'm not going to try the sea animals until the end of winter towards spring and summer to take to Hawaii. And so I'm just set that one aside for a minute. I think that's it. I don't know. Where I'm learning as I go. I have more stuff in one more consignment shop now, so that makes 1, 2, 3 things are in. Another one that was interested, so almost 4 consignment shops. I want to have that as a nice base, so if the roads and the weather's bad, or if I get sick or my mom gets sick, that I have things in places. The Etsy, I have a few sales on there. Honestly, I would be thrilled to get going, but at the same time, I can't keep up. So what I'm going to do is rotate things in Etsy. They'll be in there, and then when I go to a show, if they sell, I'm deleting them. Or if I'm taking them or shipping them to Missouri, I'm deleting them. So things that are on there or deleted are either sold or shipped out. And that's just the way I know how to do it at this point. I got to figure out how to have enough stock in Missouri for this big craft fair in November. I mailed out that tub today. I've got to see what scarves sell here before I go, and then mail all the scarves. I don't know how many to do. And I haven't started doing orders yet because the issue is supplies when I'm in Montana. Missouri, it's not a big deal. I could totally do orders in Missouri when I'm there. But where I'm at in Montana, there's only one store that's really pricey. Then there's Walmart, which doesn't have much selection. When I have it shipped in, it can take up to 7 days to get shipped here. And where I've ordered at Michael's and Hobby Lobby, right before this last festival, which I didn't need anyway, it worked out fine. I was trying to get yarn for pumpkins. The black, orange, and green of the fuzzy. I like the Burnett blanket. Sold out at both of them. So I couldn't get it. So then I can't promise to make something for somebody if I don't have the yarn and I can't be 100% sure I can get it. So that's why I haven't started that. In the future, maybe. And it would just be probably I would only do orders on items I've already made so that I know that they've seen it and like it. Because learning a new pattern, mine might not look like the one that was made. On the bags, those are super hard to reproduce. Basically, they're one of a kind. Because when I do the yarn combinations, sometimes I throw in a variegated and I only have 1 or 2 of them. When that's gone, and I don't write them down, I just create them, move on. Because I would have books and books and stuff. So trying to duplicate a bag color is going to be almost impossible. Somebody did want the one that was blue, and this one I did ended up more brown and red. So I'm going to try one more time, but I don't know that it's going to be possible to get even close. So The bags are definitely, just count on them being one of a kind because I can't count on figuring out how to duplicate it because I throw in different colors, just whatever strikes me at the time. I don't have a set stitch count, so each one can be different sizes. I have started putting the sizes on the Etsy when I list them. So the first number is how big they are this way, the next one is this way, and then let's put this one up here. So the first number will be across this way, the next number is this way, then the last number is this in the bottom to show you how big the bottom is, because that flips around, and then on the inside you'll see that's how wide it, but they do kind of move about a little bit. So that's what I'm doing. Thanks for listening. Please like, share, do all the YouTube-y things. I love saying that. And at some point, if you guys are interested, if there's a big, I haven't learned how to edit, so I'd have to figure out how to do it, but we can maybe chat about a crime show, a trial that's going on. That's in the future. I don't know that anybody's interested at this point in time, so right now we're going to focus on crochet and getting set up for the craft fairs and how those are going. All right, if you have questions, let me know. I hope that answered your questions on time and how I'm mass producing things. Thank you. Bye.